Make It Yourselfers. Today I'm going to show you how to make a quick and easy fire starter. We have been using this exclusively to start our fires at home for years now. In the past we would buy fire starters, but most of them are made with very toxic ingredients. They're kind of expensive. And what's great about this is that you can use stuff that you would otherwise throw away. Now, I used to deep fry a lot more foods and I would use oils more often, so it was a win-win. Every time I would be ready to throw out that cooking oil, I would recycle that along with my dryer lint and just make these wonderful fire starters. And it's amazing how well this burns and how handy it is to have on hand. In the past, I've tried other methods. I know a lot of people like to use egg cartons and they will put lint in there and then they will put wax in, but wax is kind of expensive. Unless you have a ton of used candles that you want to get rid of, they can get pretty pricey and it's really unnecessary unless you really want something that's pretty waterproof because you're going hiking or something. But even this, you can get around it by vacuum sealing this in plastic to keep it from getting wet. The other problem I had is, apart from the fact that I have hens and I do not generally have very many egg cartons on hand, I do occasionally buy eggs because now in the winter my hens aren't laying, but I also freeze eggs, and maybe I'll show you that some other time. But it was really painful when you started cutting through all these egg cartons to get these individual fire starters. So this works so much better. It's so much simpler. Now that I've been eating a more meat-based diet, I don't have a lot of oil that I would throw out, but I do have some inexpensive oils that I've bought for certain things. I actually like sunflower oil for cosmetics, just because it's non-comedogenic and it's really inexpensive. So when I'm looking to make a lot of something in bulk really cheaply, that's the only real use that I find for sunflower oil these days. Not only am I not a fan of seed oils for cooking or for actually using anywhere for your food internally, I've had issues with abusing nuts and seeds in the past, and even though the oils aren't so bad, the problem is the extraction process of these oils. But for something like this, it's absolutely wonderful. I've also used inexpensive olive oil, which might sound crazy in the US because it's probably a lot more expensive there. But here in Spain, you can find some really cheap brands of olive oil. Here, you don't tend to see oils like corn oil or canola oil. That sort of thing just is not used here in Spain. Our vegetable oil is generally sunflower oil. But anyways, use whatever you have on hand. If you have used cooking oil, feel free to use that. I suggest you strain out anything, any bits, flour, or anything like that in there. I'm going to be using this in a chimney insert. So to me, even if it were to smell like fried fish or something like that, I really don't have an issue with it because it's in my insert and you really can't smell that in the rest of the house. This could not be easier. If you're going to be having this on your mantle, which I do, the best thing is to use a decorative jar, something that's kind of pretty. I'm just a bit too lazy to look for something like that, and practical because I like to recycle these tomato sauce jars. Actually, it's a pureed tomato that I buy sometimes for my son. I have so many of them. I use them for making lotions and that sort of thing, and that's what I'm using. What you'll want to do is to take some dryer lint, and I have this saving up all year for the winter time. We pretty much heat our house with our fireplace. So we do not have natural gas or anything like that here in Spain. Everything we have is electric, and electricity is very expensive here because more than half of pretty much everything we have is taxed very highly. Over half the price of our electricity, our water, our gas is is all taxes. So when I see people complaining about $3, $4 gasoline in the United States, I figured ours out here the other day, and it was almost $7 using the conversion of dollars to euros and liters to gallons. So yeah, it's been painful lately. What you're going to want to do is do this in layers. I will put some dryer lint in, pour some oil over it, and then just really push down on the next layer of lint to suck up the rest of that oil. This does not need to be super, super wet. It works really well even when it's not. And you can usually put in quite a bit of lint. Once you can reach the bottom, you can just really push in on that. And you will see this will get compacted down. You can use a lot of lint up for this. I've had people in the past be concerned about the toxicity of polyester fibers and burning them. Again, we are doing this in a closed system. It is a fireplace insert, so I'm not too concerned. It's not something that I'm really breathing inside the house. But that said, we also do not have a lot of synthetic fibers in our house. My son has atopic dermatitis, so I've always had to buy cotton or mostly natural fibers for him. If not, he would have issues. My husband was in a fire on his boat and he burned over 30% of his body, and his skin now is very sensitive, and he also cannot handle polyester. So basically the only one, and I've always been drawn to natural fabrics more. I do have some dresses that are not natural, but they don't give off a lot of lint anyways, and most of those don't get placed in the dryer. So most of our lint is pretty much cotton based. But if you are worried about that, just keep that in mind. For me, where we're burning it, I don't think it's an issue. And again, we don't use synthetic fibers. So I still think that it's less toxic than probably what we were buying for fire starters in the past. And this is just so frugal, so economic, so easy, and it works so well. It's amazing. I really, really love this. And you just don't feel bad using more and more of it just because you know how cheap and quick you can make more of this. And again, I just keep it in a jar like this on the mantle. It's kind of hidden behind some other things that I have on the mantle. But you can see this jar was full. I even had some in here already. With the oil, it's allowing me to really compact this. So I'm going to need a little bit more lint from the other jar. Now, I don't mind making this, but nobody else in the house likes getting their hands dirty and oily. So this is kind of my job to make this in our house. Now you really want to press into this and just make sure that it all gets impregnated well with the oil. You don't want dry bits. I mean, it'll still probably work okay, but it just burns a lot longer if it has a good amount of oil. You can see I'm using about 1.5 jars of lint to get a jar of this. And this was really tightly compacted. I really had to press down on the lid to be able to close these jars. So that just shows you, once you get it wet with the oil, how much more you are able to compress this lint. It's really interesting and amazing. And I think this is about good for now. I mean, I could keep going. I could probably get most of this jar in there, interestingly enough. But I think this is good for now. Now I'm just going to pour a little bit more oil on the top. And this oil, I would not be surprised if it's expired again. Oh, I guess it's good until March of 2025, so it isn't. I'm not sure when I bought this or what the purpose was, but it's come in good use all winter for this. In fact, it still is cheaper than having bought fire starters all year, so even if I did buy it for this, which I might have, it still is a good buy. Now I'm going to clean this off, clean my hands, and I'm going to show you the fire starter in action. To start your fire, you really don't need very much. Just take a small piece of the lint and then light it on fire. To get my fire going, I just like to start with the smaller twigs, let some air go around it, and that helps get my fire started really quickly, really easily. If you liked this video, please give it a like, and I would love for you to subscribe for more videos like this one. Until next time, guys.